Hello, Stitchers. I'm back. It's been a while. I think the last time I recorded was April or May. So I'm feeling completely out of sync with things. I'm probably a little bit awkward, so do bear with. But after some gentle nagging from my stitchy friends, specifically Sarah and Bethany, so hello to you two, I thought it was about time that I get the good old camera out and show you some whips that I've been working on. As I said, it's been a long time. Since then, I've been to a fair few retreats, done lots of shopping, a fair bit of stitching, a bit of finishing. So there's a lot to go through. So I think this is kind of going to be a little bit of a mini whip parade, just of active whips that I've been working on since May time. I'll just go through sort of fairly briefly sort of why I've not been around, not wanting to be a bit of a Debbie Downer, but in May, I sort of had a little bit of a blip, realised that, economy had changed and it was time that, unfortunately, I had to sell my business because it just wasn't covering costs and couldn't really take wages out anymore, which was really impacting my family. So, yeah, as much as it killed me, it was time to sort of sell up and move on after working in optics since I was 18 and now I'm 33, so a long time. I decided that I needed to just change because it was the best thing for my family. So a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and in the midst of going through all that, I had a couple of negative women that gave me a bit of a hard time and my confidence was just shot. And I actually didn't think that I was going to be doing much in the cross-stitch community anymore. But I guess that's the joys of YouTube and doing retreats and things like that. You kind of put yourself out there on a platform. But yeah, I very quickly realised that, these people that I'm stitching with and talking to every day, they're like family to me now, and they're some of my closest friends, and they really boosted me back up and realised that it was time to get back on with it and not let these negative Nellies bother me. I've noticed a few other people in the cross-stitch community have had similar instances, so at least I know I'm not alone. So I am sorry that I've been away. I know a few of you have messaged me, and you know what, I really appreciate that. It's been lovely to have you guys checking in with me and asking when another video was coming. But yeah, I just needed a bit of time just to get away from the social media side of things and just have a bit of time for me and my family and just focus on a bit of stitching, which has been great. So yeah, since I last saw you, I went on to the Bella retreat. I've had 2 of the Floss Friends retreats. I went to the Essex retreat, and then I've had a stitchy weekend away going to Nimble Thimble and Create Nostalgia. So I've not been away from stitching. I've just been away from YouTube a bit. So yeah, lots of things to show you. I'm going to kind of chop it up and do it in stages. So I've got 10 of my whips that I've probably worked on the most over the last, 4 months. And then I'll show you a few finishes, not them all because some have been gifted out. And then I'm just going to show you a little bit of haul right at the end, just from Essex, Create Nostalgia and Nimble Thimble, because everything prior to September has been either started or it's been put away in my stashy tub, and I just can't even remember. You guys know shopping is like part of the addiction with cross stitching it, so I've got more than I could probably show you in this video. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a long one, so you might want to get yourself a drink. I'm hoping I can talk for that long. As I said, I'm really out of practice with this, but I'm excited to show you what I've been working on anyway. So I will jump straight in, and I'm going to try and give you all the facts and figures as I go. So the first one I'm doing with a bit of a stitch along with Dawn and Adita, who join our regular stitching groups at the pub that we do once a month through Floss Friends, and they're usually on the stitching chats as well. These are stitching both of the Mirabilia French ladies, but I'm just stitching this one. This is the baker's wife. But I decided that I wanted to do a conversion, which I'm not quite sure why I decided that now. It's been more of a challenge than I expected. But I really didn't like all the white skin. In my opinion, nobody has skin that white, and I wanted her to just look a little bit more normal, elegant, maybe an 18th century British woman. I don't know, but I wanted to change her up a little bit. So I've gone for teals and golds for the dress, a more natural skin colour, and then for the hair, I've planned on doing like a dark brown colour. I'm still not sure what to do with the flowers, whether to keep them pink. And I also saw, let me just show you again, where she's holding the cupcake just here. I've seen somebody change that into a perfume bottle, which I thought looked really, really nice. So I may change that bit as well, but it depends on how confident I'm being with that. So I'll show you where she is so far. So here we go. So you've got the bows on the front of the dress here. This is going to be the lacy bit on her arm. And then you can see some of the skin colour coming through here as well. I opted to do just 2/2 on the skin rather than 1/1. Although I've seen Adita's 1/1 skin and it looks absolutely fabulous. So yeah, that's where she is. She's been in timeout twice. And I'll show you why. So on the chart, there's a lot of white in here and a lot of white in her skin, and it's been really quite difficult for the conversion to see where they separate. So yeah, I have to be in the right mood and mindset to work on this one, but I do really like the colours and how she's coming out. So fabric wise, she's on 28 town, and I'm stitching 2/2 just in normal DMC. And then I'll probably put a bit of Krynic in and definitely some beads at the end. But I've not even thought that far about the conversion as yet. This fabric is from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. I've had this one a long time. I think it might have been from one of her monthly clubs, this one. And I started this on the 22nd of July, but I've probably only actually stitched on it 3 or 4 days. And I'll just show you, because I've got a couple of Agnes needle minders that are absolutely gorgeous on here. This one, sorry, not very steady there. This one, I actually won on her giveaway, which I was over the moon. And that's my little dragon. Yeah, I never win anything, and I won a needle minder. I was so chuffed. I shared it to everybody immediately. So yeah, so that is that one. I've probably said it a million times. As much as I love the fancy ladies, the Mirabilia, the Mirabilia charts are just not the easiest to read. They're on like cream paper, printed back to front. The symbols are really closely together, so you really have to concentrate. And then doing a conversion as well is just being like, oh. So yeah, I can't really do it when Lizzie's around me, or when the dogs are fussing. I just need to be in a room on my own where I can concentrate, which never happens. So that's why she's only had 4 days. Yeah, I do encourage you, if you are in the Floss Friends group, check out Adita and Dawn, because their progress has been immense. As I said, they're stitching both. I can't remember what the other, is it Duchess of something like that. And they've made amazing progress. I think Adita's doing them both separate, but then Dawn's stitching them side by side on one piece of fabric. I don't know if she's going to do that as a flat fold or not, but yeah, they're doing way more than I am. But yeah, loving seeing their progress on that. So next one. Oh, actually, I've just realised I've not written this down, so it's 11 whips I've got to show you. This one is another stitch along. You'll have to excuse the pattern because I have had a bit of a spillage. This is Winter Garden by Modern Folk Embroidery, by the lovely Jacob. And I started this, I want to say, the beginning of September. It's really, really recent. My friend Leanne, who again is one of the Floss Friends ladies, she asked me if I wanted to do a stitch along, and of course, yes, I do. We'd bought some silks from Silks for You. They have an amazing deal on where if you buy 5 hanks of silk, any colours, you get the 6 free. So we chose 6 colours, and then we shared the shipping costs, and we split the hanks up, so we had a mixture of all different colours. And these were the red ones that we ordered. And how gorgeous are they? There is variegation in them. You can't really see it too well on the camera, but they are so gorgeous, so bright and wonderful. If anybody wants to have a look, this is PR126. And Leanne was incredible. She spent like a full day and night cutting up all these hanks, plaiting them up so we can just pull the thread straight off. She did a fantastic job. But we were looking for a chart that we could use the red on. And this just, perfect for that. So Leanne was very sensible. She ordered a fabric and had planned it out. I was like, I want to do it now. I want to start straight away. So I went into my stash. And for those of you that watched many, many months ago, last October, I started Jacob's the year sale. I can't even remember what it's called now. Something Heights, I think. On this lovely green blue fabric, and not stitched on that pattern since the night that we all started it together on like a start along. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to cut it up because I'm never going to stitch it, and I'm going to use it for other Jacob patterns. So that's what I did, and this has been my progress so far. I absolutely love this one, although it's had to be frogged twice, which if you know me, I don't do frogging, but it was worth it. I went wrong on the border once, and then this middle bit I duplicated. So yeah, made a big mess up there, but luckily it wasn't too much to frog. But you can see on here from the stitching where those colours change. So you've got that kind of like lighter glow to it, and that's the variegation in the thread. And I just love it so much. And I thought sort of green and red, perfect colours for Christmas time. I'm still not sure how I'm going to finish this because it's kind of a bit too big for a little cushion. But I don't know if it's too small for a frame. So yeah, I don't know. If you've got any ideas of how you would finish this one, let me know. But yeah, the more I stitch on it, the more I love how it's looking. So I got to the halfway point at our stitchy weekend away, and then last night on our stitch and chat, I did this bit down here. So not too much to go. Yeah, it does actually stitch up really, really quickly. So yeah. Can't wait for that one to be finished. I think this one will be probably my 12th finish of the year. And again, if you watched before, that was my challenge for this year, to get 12 finishes in 12 months. And I've done 11 so far, so I've just got one more left to go. And we're still like 2 months left to go. I think that is going to be more than achievable. So my next one you have probably seen before because I started this in November 21, so it's not a new whip at all. You'll probably see a bit of a theme. I've lost my bug for full coverage a little bit, but then I had a week where I couldn't put this one down, which made no sense. So I'm going to put a picture up here because the one that I've got printed is super duper tiny and I don't think you'll be able to see it very well. So this is Afternoon Tea, chartered by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Randall Spangler. And I'm not a super dragon person, but this one just calls to me. Everybody loves a bit of afternoon tea. So this is where I am so far. And I think last time I pretty much just had this in. It was like the first page finish. And then in that week, I just did so much. And I got all this purple bit in the chair. And I was determined to get some of the dragon in. So I've got his face in there. But again, I've not touched him now for like 6 weeks. So I was hoping he might have been a bit of a finish for this year, but he's just way too far off. But I'm happy with how he's coming together. So this one is now on 15,611 stitches. Out of 84,500, so I've still got a fair way to go. He's now on 18.47%, and this is stitched on 28 count even weave easy guide, and this is 2/1 tent stitch. Yeah, I can't wait to get his full face in. I'm loving him. And this is I don't think I said this is the mini one, not the full-sized one. And here's another little, the chameleon. Look at his big googly eyes. I love this one so much. And I don't know if anybody's been keeping an eye out, but it's the Halloween release of the Agnes Needle Minders this month. And there's skulls and roses and yeah, all the little spooky things. So yeah, if you want to keep an eye out for those, I think they'll be coming up probably in the next week or so because she's been posting quite regularly. I think there's some Mandrake ones this time as well, so maybe any of the Harry Potter fans out there, you might be interested in those. Now this next one, I don't think you've seen much of it at all. Partly because I've not stitched anything on it. So the lovely Caroline from Haystack Stitching and Linda from the Sampler Guild, who, as you will know, are my partners in crime, along with Andrea, that is organising the Big Stitch. They organised the B-Sal, which is from the Willing Hands book. So I'll show you. This is the book. And this is what we're supposed to be making. So all of these wonderful things. There's a little like drum box, a needle key, pincushion, a little tape measure, and then a scissor fob, and then this lovely hexagon box. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. And some people have actually worked on it so quickly that they've done 2. I did the border and then it never saw the daylight. But last month, after talking about it with Andrea, I kind of thought, oh my goodness, I better just stitch something on this. So just one evening while I was watching the TV, I pulled it out. I might have to put some paper behind this one. And I just stitched the little bee and the little beehive. But I've still got loads to do. I've got all the hexagon box and then the other little squares. But it will be done. It will be done. And it's stitched with Gloriana. So the thread is just gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the variegation. Oh, yeah, you can on that one. The threads are just gorgeous. And I will do it. I will. But It's a Sal. As soon as you say Sal, I don't stitch it. It's just a theme. It's a theme with me. So the black doesn't have much variegation in it, but I'll show you the gold. Oh, and I'm not very good at looking after my threads either. But this is the Gloriana Gold, which is lovely. And it's really nice to stitch with. I think this is my first time actually using Gloriana. So, yep. Really, really nice. So I'm going to work on that one at some point. I'm thinking that probably might be a finish by the end of next year. Or I might even try and aim to get it done, all the stitching done for the big stitch, and then say to Caroline and Linda, help me put it together. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I bought this wonderful bag for it. Fantastic fabric. This was from Sarah, who runs Not Enough Whip Bags, and I just loved it. Absolutely loved it from the first moment I saw it. So yeah, knew this was coming in with me. And she does these fantastic little charms. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It's got a little bee at the end with the lovely glass beads. She's a very talented sewer. Very, very good sewer. So that was that one. Oh, I didn't tell you. This one is stitched on 28 count linen, which I don't stitch on linen very often, but this one wasn't too bad. It's lovely and soft, and it's actually fairly even. The bit that I don't like is when they have them big, like, blobs. That's not the technical term, but you know what I mean. The little blobs in the fabric where when you stitch over them, your stitching doesn't lay even. And that's what puts me off linen a little bit, but this one was lovely. And I actually bought this one from Linda. Linda and Caroline kitted this up for Andrea and I. So I started this one on the 25th of May, and I'm pretty sure it should probably be finished by now, but hey ho, it's the taking part that counts. So my next one, again, is a fairly recent start. I'm sure you will have seen this one before. This is the Salem Witch Trials, and this is by the Little Stitcher Shop. If any of you watches Ellie Welly Stitcher, you will see that she's finished this one. I can't remember if she did it on a bell pull or something, but yeah, definitely she's finished this one. So I started this in July, just before we did the Floss Friends retreat, and I actually stitched most of this at the retreat. The fabric is absolutely gorgeous. One of my favouriteest fabrics that I have. And this was from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. And this is on 40 count. I'm stitching 1/2. And this is why not much has been done on it. Now, I'm not sure how close I can get. As you will see, it's a little bit gappy, more so in a dress than anywhere. And I couldn't decide whether I liked that or not. But now I've got it out of the bag, ready to show you guys. I actually think it looks fab, and I love it. So I'm going to carry on with it. I think I'm not going to restart it. And I think it actually quite adds to the effect of that primitive old world style. So yeah, that's where it is. I think it's only had sort of 2 or 3 days on it at most. It's actually really deceiving how much stitching is there in this, especially in the dresses and the house. So it's going to take me a long, long time. Probably a finish for next October, maybe. So I started this on the 31st of July. And I said this is from Coffee Craft Fabrics. I bought this little grime guard from Jess Gets Stitching, which is a little Lion King one. And I also, at the retreat, again from Not Enough Whip Bags, bought this wonderful Halloween bag for it to live in. Which, again, I just love. I don't ever normally buy bags because I think I can make them myself. You know, I do make them regularly, and I take them to the retreats. But there's just something about how Sarah finishes them. I just absolutely love them. So, yeah, that was that one. This next one, I think I've probably only actually worked on it one day since I last showed it on my last Flosstube. And this is the Koi Pond by Shannon Christine Designs. And I loved it because I thought it just looked like a little mini chatelaine, you know, with all the beads, and the colours of those fish is just phenomenal. So I stitched on this a little bit at the Bella Filipina retreat in May, but then very quickly realised I was missing colours for the fish, and I'd had enough of bead in. And after that, it just kind of got left to one side, but as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. And that is all petite treasure braid, all that gold. You've got these massive beads in here, which just look gorgeous. And then, yeah, the contrast of the fish. So now I've seen this one out again, I want to stitch on it. So I think I'm going to have to get this one back out. I just love it. So this one is stitched on 28 count hand-dyed even weave, but I can't remember if I dyed this or whether I bought this one. It's definitely not one of Megan's because the serging is different, which is what's making me think that it's one of mine, because I don't really buy hand-dyed fabric other than from Megan or Pole Stitchers, and it's too small to be one of Pole Stitchers. So I think I dyed it, but I'm not sure. So I'm stitching this 2/2, and this was started on the 17th of April. Yeah, gorgeous. I love a bit of sparkle, especially in my older days. Now I'm getting a little bit older. I never used to be a glittery person or sparkly person, and now it just seems to be taking over everything. So my next one, I love, but I'm having a little bit of an issue getting motivated on this one, which I'm sad about, because this was the one that Lizzie chose for me to stitch on, and she loves it. This is Bedtime Story by Chris Dunn, charted by Pain Free Crafts. Sorry, that's the dogs going off on one. And I think the issue for me is that when I've started up here in this corner, and it's just a lot of browns and greens and greys, and the fun stuff doesn't get into play until all the way down here. But I'm going to keep at it. I will keep working on it. I'm not going to just throw it away, because, as I said, this was the one that Lizzie chose, and she does love it. And I think the reason why it's taken me a little bit longer is because I've done it 1/1 full cross, which, hands down, I think the effect is far better than tent stitch. It's not as chunky. My stitches lay flatter. It's a lot more even, but it takes me twice as long. So that's another reason as well. So this is where I am, and I've actually probably stitched on this maybe 6 or 7 times. So it looks like nothing, but it's actually been quite a few nights of stitching. So this one, let me give you the stats. It's stitched on 28 count easy guide, 1/1, like I said, and I've done 3,678 stitches out of 102,648. So this one is now at 3.58%, which is nothing. It'll take me a long time. And this was my birthday start for this year. So, yeah, started this one in February. Oh, it will get done at some point in my life. I'm trying to just focus on a couple of full coverages at a time. And I'll come to my plans later on and sort of tell you what's happening and why. But it was such a big deal for me when I got my witching hour, my black cat finished, and I was on such a high, and I don't know, it was such an achievement. And even if you don't like full coverage, I feel like everybody could appreciate the amount of time and effort and work that went into it. And yeah, I just love seeing it finished, and it's up on my wall, especially now it's getting to that autumn season. I just love it, and I want to get that again. It would be nice if I could finish a full coverage, you know, every year to 18 months, especially because they're not massive ones. But I need to just stop starting all the things. That would help. So my next one, I've only had 1 day stitching on it, and that was because I started it last weekend at our weekend away. So the wonderful Rosie from Rosie X Stitches, she got in touch and said that she wanted to do some owl forest projects, and we were just sort of having a bit of a chat about that. And you know, I said, oh, if you're ordering, let me know and I'll order some threads, and then we can kind of do a bit of a start along at the stitching weekend, which we did. So I got my threads through, which are absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to show you because I've made a mess of them already. But I started stitching on October Mood, which I will show here. And I've started stitching this one on hand-dyed 40 count. I think this is tea-dyed actually, by me. Did it myself. And I decided to do this one 2/2. Just because when I started stitching that back, I can't talk, guys. When I started stitching that back, it looked really sparse, and I just felt like it really needed to be bolder to make those colours stand out. But yeah, it's looking great. I love it. The variegation, especially in that red, is wonderful. The threads are just gorgeous. And it's not massive, but there is a fair bit of stitching in it with the border. So yeah, not going to be a mega focus piece, but this is a nice one if maybe I just want to, you know, I've got half an hour and I just want to put a little motif in or something. But yeah, love that one. And I did actually order some threads for a couple more kits, so I'll show you those in a little bit when I do the haul, and then you can see what the thread packs actually look like when they come through, not when I've unpacked them and made a complete mess of them. So where we are, next one, oh, another Owl Forest embroidery. I kind of went on a little bit of a spending spree with them, I think. As soon as anybody says they're ordering anything, I'm like, oh, what about me? I'll join in. So this is the I'm calling it the chicken coop. I don't know what it's called, unfortunately. It's all in Russian. But this is my chicken coop project. And I started straight in the middle when she can pick it up. And here he is. Again, the threads are just gorgeous. The variegation is amazing. And I really like the effect of these like little diamond bits. But you can see all the variegation like in the reds. Just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So this one, I didn't like the fabric that came with the kit, so I substituted with a piece that was in my stash. It's not really showing up here, but it's kind of like an off-white opalescent, and then it's got bits of really light like green in there, a green tinge. So I thought that was perfect for this one. And this one is 32 count even weave by Coffee Craft Fabrics, and I started this in August. It's been in timeout a little bit because I did make a mistake, as you do. I made a bit of a mistake up here. Here, this is where I made the mistake. You can see the little bit of a gap. It's when I get chatting in the pub. I'm chatting away and I'm stitching, and then before I know it, I made a big mess up. So that was that. I don't know. I'll show you some of the colours so you can see here. They're just so bright and wonderful. The variation of the green. And this is the red. I think the red might be my favourite. Oranges. They're just wonderful. And I know there's a lot of stigma around ordering from Russia. And I'm not going to get into that. But if you do decide to order from them, I highly recommend their threads because they're wonderful to stitch with. Yeah, and their patterns. I think everybody is aware of their patterns and how gorgeous they are. I'm watching the Hygge Stitcher at the moment, and she's stitching the Treasure Island one. And every time I see it, I'm more and more tempted. But again, the whips, there's just so many and not enough time. Because I've got like 4, I think, now that I've kitted up over the last month or two. So yeah, I think I might need to finish one before I actually buy anything else. So my next one, I started at the Essex retreat a couple of weeks ago. And I meant to start this one at the Filipina retreat, but I just got completely distracted with other bits and bobs while I was there. So I thought it was about time that she got a bit of love. And this was the Gaia, the Earth Goddess. And I've had her kitted up for the longest time. So yeah, I just thought it was time. Now let me make sure I'm getting this the right way, because I've not done much. So here we are. This is what I did. So she's only had sort of 1 and a bit days stitching. And this is this bit down here of her dress. Wonderful, wonderful colours. And this is on, don't know if you can see it a bit better on the other side actually. It's like a mottled yellow and white opalescent, and this is by Coffee Craft Fabrics again. Definitely a theme with the fabric, isn't they? So this is 28 count, stitched 2/2. I still don't know what to do with the skin. She hasn't got that much. There's only sort of really her head and hands really. So yeah, I think this one might be a 1/1. But who knows? I will decide when I get there. So yeah, she was started on the 16th of September. I actually did a bit more than I remembered. But again, you know, these Bella patterns are just huge. And I've been keeping her in one of the lovely travel books from Canny Little Fox. And I'll just show you my little needle minder. This one was from Denkai Designs. So she's got all the beads. You can hear the rattling. She's got everything in there all ready to go. I just need to find some time to stitch on her, that's all. And then last one, which I think has been one of my favourites, although I've lost my mojo on it a little bit. Let me just see if I have a cover photo in here, and then it saves me putting the picture up when I'm editing because it takes me so long. So this is Fish and Chips by Long Dog Sampler. This one has just been calling to me for the longest of times. Just fantastic little motifs in there. Love it. And this was the one that I bought the silks for. So this was my motivation for placing the order. And these are the silks for this one. So it's a range of blues and greys and orange. Absolutely gorgeous. Hopefully you can see them. So this colour, if you want to have a look yourself, is PR193. And here it is. Oh, I love this one. It looks so good. It's been quite interesting because I've had to really think about where I want the colour changes to be. Like in this big flower bit here, I knew I wanted the vase bit to stand, sort of really stand out. And then you've got the big whale, and I had to think about what direction I wanted the whale to be in, and you know, really think about that. The seahorses, yeah, it's just wonderful. It really is. Yeah, so I'm 25% of the way on this one, so it's not very big at all when you compare it to the other long dogs. You know, it's really, really quite manageable. And then again, I've got my little Agnes needle minder on there. So yeah, love this one so much. And I wish that my motivation would just come back for this, but I don't know, as soon as it got to sort of September, I was like, that's it. It's Halloween season. I need to be stitching all my autumn things. So it just kind of, yeah, went out of the window. So I started this one on the 27th of August, and this is stitched on 32 count even weave 2/1. Nope, 2/2. Nearly messed that one up. And I'll just show you the bag. Let me just take the pattern out. Obviously, I don't want to be showing that off. This is from Jess Gets Stitching, and she's used a quilting panel, and I just thought it was gorgeous. All those different colours and the little puffins, and then on the front, she's got this fantastic. So it's a vinyl bag, but it's got this fantastic printed vinyl on there. So yeah, I highly recommend her for bags as well. And I got a couple of grime guards from her also at the retreat. And she makes scroll frame covers as well, which I'm not really seeing many people doing those. Sorry if you can hear that disgusting noise in the background. My dogs are having a feast here on some treats, I think. I can hear them slobbering away in the background. So I'm just going to have a little 2-second break, and then I'm going to show you just a handful of my finishes over the last few months, and then I'll go through haul, which may take a while. So I'll see you in 2. So here we go for the finishes. Now this first one, I thought it was a finish. I was happy it was finished. I was putting it all over my Instagram, like, "Ooh, look at me, I got a finish." And then somebody said, "Sorry to tell you, but you've actually missed a part of the pattern off." Oh, I was gutted, and I've still not put it back in. But for now, I'm saying it's a finish, and when I decide whatever I want to do with it, I will go and put the missing part in. But this one has been needing to be finished for a hell of a long time. It was my first ever Sal, and the first one that I've ever finished, which is really, really sad. So here it is in all of its glory, is the Crypt Itself by the Witchy Stitcher. And you can see my little missing moon is just down here on the border. If you can see that. There it is. So I will stitch that back in at some point. And I changed it around a little bit just because I wanted to have Bigfoot and the little goat man in there. So yeah, Bigfoot is a little bit different. I changed that square a little bit. But yeah, it's looking fab. I actually have no idea what I want to do with it. Originally, Ryan said he wanted to have it in his office, but I don't know. That feels like it was such a long time ago. I'll probably ask him again, see if he wants it. But I feel like it deserves to be framed. You know, it was a significant time really early on in my stitching journey. Is that the right word? I'm sorry, it's so big. It's quite tricky to hold. And I do love the Witchy Stitcher. She's fab. And this is just stitched on like a Zweigart 14 count 2/1 No fancy hand-dyed fabric back then. I think this was probably only the second chart I'd ever actually bought that wasn't full coverage, so I was still kind of exploring the world of fabrics and floss, and yeah, a lot's changed since then. My next one is a little finish. So for anybody who kind of follows me, I occasionally do the odd stitchy box where we do a theme, and I send out a couple of patterns and a project bag and little goodies. And the last one that I did was a book lovers box, and this is one that I stitched up myself. I don't always do the model stitches for myself, so you can tell that I really, really like this one because I did it myself and it only took me like a week or so. In fact, I think it only took me 4 days, but I love it. So this is a quote from Mansfield Park. And I just, yeah, the colours and everything. I really like how I did this one. I need to finish her. I'm probably going to do her in a little cushion with a nice little trim. I want some like little velveteen to go around the side. There she is. And the little flowers. So yeah, even as my taste in stitching is changing, the way I'm designing patterns is definitely changing as well. And I think this is a testament to that. So she is stitched on 40 count tea-dyed fabric, stitch 1/1. 1/1? 1/2. Yeah, 1/2. Full cross, and these are just DMC, no fancy floss. Yeah, and that was a lovely stitch. I stitched her mainly like when I was on stitching calls or when we went to the pub to stitch together. Nice easy stitch. Really enjoyed that one. Now this one you will have seen before. So this one I finished in December last year, and as you, well, if you've watched before, you will know that I said I was going to stitch 4, one from each season, and then frame them all together. So this was my reindeer, and I decided to stitch the bear, the owl, and the raccoon. And me being naive said, oh, we're going to have them all finished by December. They are way bigger than I anticipated, but I do love them. So next I went on to the bear, and I got him fully finished. No, I got him finished. So he's ready to go into the pile. The reindeer I just did with DMC, but this one I bought the actual call for floss. And the variegation is just beautiful in the bear. I love him. So he's ready to go. They're both stitched on 28 count opalescent. This one is by Coffee Craft and the reindeer is by Sparklies. So I don't know when I'm going to do the other two. I don't know, but it needs to be soon. I would like to get them both finished by maybe summer of next year, and then I can ask the wonderful Lisa who does the framing in South Yorkshire just to, I don't know, in an imaginative way of getting them all 4 in evenly spaced for the seasons, because I do love this one, and I'm pretty sure this one's going to go up in my living room. But I need to think about complementary colours, but then still make it look different for the seasons and all of that jazz. So yeah, they are an ongoing project, but I do love them. And then my next one is a big finish. You will have probably seen this one on my Instagram if you follow me. This is my first ever fancy lady finish, and it is Bella Filipina Greta Gold Bloom. Of course you're not going to see anything because of all the glare, but there she is in her frame. All done, and she stitched on pole stitches, celebration of roses, and I'll just show you the frame. So she's got a navy border, and then it's this lovely mottled frame. My stitchy friend Andrea helped me pick all the colours out. I'm sorry for the glare, it's hard to show her. You know, when I'm in the conservatory, so it's all lit up. But yeah, I love her, and she's going to live in my bedroom because I've got a navy and pink bedroom, so she's going to be perfect. And that is it. I've done a few other little like cushion finishes. In fact, I'll put a photo up of 2 finishes that I did for the Floss Friends Halloween exchange. They've already gone in the post this morning, so I can't show you those. One is Witch's Dance, which I got off Etsy. I can't remember the name of the shop, but I'll put it on here somewhere. And then the other one is the Barbara Anna. I want to say it's called Spellville, but I just did the top half of the key and cut the bottom part off. So it was a fairly small cushion. The Spellville one, the Barbara Anna one, I did on 46 count, 2/2. And the Witch's Dance I did on the same tea-dyed fabric that I did the Book Lovers one on. And she is 2/2, just DMC 310, and then I think I just picked a random skin colour out. So yeah, they've gone off today, and then I've done a couple of my own I've done a couple of my own sort of fully finished items, just so I can have them on display when I'm at the retreats. Model stitching, that is the word I'm looking for. It's getting late here, and I think my brain has gone to mush. So I'm just going to have a little break again. My coffee's gone cold. I'm going to make a fresh one, tidy all this away, and then I'm going to get my patterns out that I bought and my floss from the stitching weekend when I went to Create Nostalgia and Nimble Thimble, and I will put a few pictures up here as well, just so you can have a look at that. So yeah, I'll be back in 2. Okay guys, this is the haul part. So if haul is not for you and you just wanted to see the stitching, then thank you for joining, and this is where we say goodbye. But for all the rest of you that love to be influenced and want to buy all the things, then do stick around and I'll show you what I've been buying. So first I'll show you the other Owl Forest embroidery set. So I just bought the flosses. So the first one is the snail houses, and it's the strawberry one. And I will just sorry, crinkle it's gonna be noisy. I'll just show them because otherwise you're gonna get the glare of the packet. These are the colours, just gorgeous, absolutely lovely. So that is that one. And then the next one I got from Owl Forest Embroidery was the Forest Houses, and it's the Hare family. And I just love this with the little mommy one and the babies. I couldn't resist. So I'll just see if I can hold these up. These are the flosses. I love this green and yellow one and this pinky purple one here. So pretty. And I think I'm going to use this fabric. So this is one from Megan. Hang on, let me see if I can hold the threads up. Oh, this is where we juggle. So this is 36 count opalescent from Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. And that's the colours. Yeah, I think they're going to look gorgeous. And again, so deceiving. Lots of stitching. But I think they'll look beautiful. And I don't know when I'm going to start those. So before I jump into any more, I should probably explain what my plans are for next year. So because I've been buying all the things, and this year I just wanted to focus on finishing, but then towards the back end of the year, I've kind of started all of the things. I thought it was a good idea next year just to stitch from stash. Now, that's great in theory, but then you've got that ultimate fear of getting halfway through the year and not having anything to stitch on, which is where all the shopping has come in place. So my idea of trying to save a little bit of money next year actually heavily impacted this year. So I've been buying all of the things, and instead of having one box of patterns ready to go, I've now got two, and I'm probably going to need a third. So I've got enough stitching to probably last me 5 years instead of one. But it's okay. At least I won't get bored. So that is the reason for buying all of these things. Now, many months ago, you might remember, if you've watched this before, that I was hopping on about the chatelaine. So I ordered Swan Lake thread pack and bead pack from Hawkins Hobbies, and that has now arrived. So I have a bag full of goodies. I've got all the DMCs. I've got all the water lilies and Gloriana in there. Gorgeous, gorgeous colours. Then I've got, I should take some of these out. I've got all the petite treasure braids, can't talk, which are just, look at those. They just look gorgeous. And then silk after silk after silk. All of the silks. And there's so many. So many. And then I've got I'm not going to get all of these out, but sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. So this is going to be my main focus of 2024. Before the end of the year, I will have sort of my fabric, which I now actually think that I'm going to have a play around and just dye some myself. I've been having a look and I just can't decide on any that I've seen. It's either, I think, too dark or too light or too bright. And I've got an idea in my head of exactly what I want it to look like. And although I'm still an amateur at dyeing compared to a lot of others, I have done a lot of fabric dyeing and it's worked out how I kind of envisioned. So I'm going to give it a go. The worrying thing is the piece of fabric that I need is 30 by 30 inches. So it's a lot of fabric if I mess it up, but I can always then use it for something else. So that's going to be my main focus for 2024, but I still want others that I'm going to dip in and out of. So because this one is so big, it's going to be on a scroll frame permanently. And obviously when I'm out and about, or, you know, when I want to just curl up on the sofa, you can't do that with a big project like that. So I'm still going to want all these other little ones to keep me going. And I've got a lot. So yeah, so that was my idea. Have a couple of full coverages that I'm going to focus on, my chatelaine, and then I can dip in and out of all the little ones in between. So that is mainly what I've been buying, is little projects that are not actually so little. And when I went shopping over the weekend, I had the mindset that I wanted things like little cushions, biscornus, pin cushions, little scissor fobs, and all of those kind of things. Those kind of like 3D little ornament objects. And I think I actually did pretty well. So I'll show you some of these. So this was my first one. Oh, I'm going to have to take them out of the packet. Yeah. That's the only problem when you're sat in a brightly lit room. Get out, get out. So here we go. This is the first one. And this, you can either finish it like a little, does it say it's a, oh, it doesn't say. It doesn't say. But it's a little, you either finish it as a little needle pouch or framing it, whichever you want. And this is by Just Nan. And it's absolutely gorgeous. This came with the little bead pack with it. And then you'll see in the middle, there's the little bird charm. And you got that with it as well. Let me see. I don't know how well you're going to see this. But there it is. The little... Focus, focus, focus. The little birdie. And the lovely beads. So again, I have no idea when I'm going to stitch that. But I'm quite excited about that one. Because I've never stitched anything like that. And then that theme kind of carried on. Because I became quickly obsessed. As soon as you see these finished up anywhere, you just need all of the things. So this, I'm hoping you can see that. This is block party and this is wool. So it's got little sheepies in, and then you get given the little felt bit that just goes on the top. And then I bought this one as a kit with the little pins as well that you stick in the top. And these are actually quite bigger than I thought as well. So where does it say? Oh, I don't know. But they were a good sort of like 8 inches, I think, when they were the 8-inch square. Yeah, they were big. Well, the one in the shop was anyway. But super, super cute. And then I bought one from the same sort of series, if you like. But this is the bee one. And again, I saw this one in person. It was just gorgeous. So you get the little felt. And then this one didn't have the pins. This was quite a bit cheaper. So I invested in some little pins. Got the little bee and the blackbird and then the little beehive. These are so expensive. £11.20. But I became obsessed with the pins while I was there. That's a dangerous road I was going down. And the other bit I became obsessed with were little buttons. So I saw these and I couldn't resist. Little broomstick buttons. And some of them have actually got some like little bits of fabric on. No idea what I'm going to do with them, but you know what it's like when you get in that moment. And then my last one with pins that I bought. Let me get them out. These Holly Home Berries by Erica Michaels. I'm not a huge Christmas stitcher, but I really like the idea of these, especially the little house. And then you can see here they've got little pins just in the top. So I bought those pins to go with them. Whether I use them for that or not, I don't know. But just too cute. too cute. I couldn't resist. So this is another Erica Michaels one. So this one is Twinkleberry. And then on the back, it shows you stitched in pink and white as well, which I think I prefer that to the blue. Super, super cute. And it's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Very, very adorable. And then this is another Erica Michaels one. And this was the one that I actually was intending to buy straight off. I don't know if you can see this cushion in detail, but I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. So delicate, and I loved the colours. Yeah, just really, really sweet. But you get all four in there. And that was actually a real bargain. That was $13.85. And you get all of those patterns in there. So I thought that was really good value. Loved it. Let's see what else we've got. Last Erica Michaels one is this one, and this is Autumn Berries. But this one I didn't actually buy. This one I won in the raffle at the Essex retreat. So this set me off on a very, very slippery slope. So thank you, Elaine and Teresa, for that. You've cost me a fortune this last weekend. But I can't wait to stitch them. And then while I was at the Essex retreat, I saw this one for the first time. Now, I've got a couple of the birds in my stash already, but I've not seen this one with the autumn colours in the little pumpkin. And one that I've been keeping my eye on a while was the Winter Wisdom one. So when I was at the shops, I decided to pick that one up. And I think what I'm going to do is, just like I'm doing with the Cottage Garden, the Year in the Woods series, I'm going to pick 4, one from each season. So I've got autumn and winter. And I think I've got the love one for like spring. And then I'll pick one for summer. And I'll stitch them stitch the 4 together. But yeah, I just think they're beautiful, those ones. My next one, which is not really my style, if I have to say. I'm not a big house stitcher, but I saw this one and I just fell in love with it. I don't know whether it's because it's the wintry snow or the lanterns, but I just absolutely love it. This is Lantern Lane by Little House Needleworks. That's the top bit there. And what I decided to do is I'm not going to do it all call for. I thought I could stitch the house with my leftover Silks for You. So what I then did was bought some browns and greens just to do the fence and the trees in. And then I'll do the other bits from stash because I've got some gold Gloriana in there. And I've got some Gloriana black as well. So yeah, I'll just substitute, and I think that's going to look amazing. I might actually end up starting this one before the end of the year. This might actually be my December stitch, but I'm not going to put money on it because I change my mind all the time. So the colours that I decided to buy was sampler threads, which I've never actually... Oh, Gentle Art sampler threads, sorry. In dark chocolate, but I don't think I've actually stitched with those before. And then I got Week Style Works in the colour bark for the trees. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. I've got quite a few Little House Needleworks, but I don't think I've actually ever stitched any of them, which is a bit bizarre because I've got quite a few, but that one I just think is beautiful. I can't wait to stitch that one. Now, the next two were my biggest spends of the weekend. I knew 100% that I wanted a drawn thread kit, and I thought it was going to be one of the autumn ones or one of the kitchen garden ones. At Nimble Thimble, they have sort of them all kitted up, ready with the colourful fabric and the threads all ready to go. And when I saw the autumn one and the kitchen one, I loved the colours, but I wasn't keen on the fabric. And then I came across this one. So this is the winter garden, and I just fell in love. It just looks like the Home Alone house. I don't know if you guys think the same. And I just loved it. So I'll spin it over so you can see. It's this sort of grey blue fabric, and then all the colourful silks in there as well. And this was £36. So that to me is pretty good value for a full kit and the pattern. And this is 32 count Belfast linen, and it says that it's 10 by 24 inch. So that is really, really good value. And then the next one was a bit of a surprise. So I saw this one on the wall. On the website, completely bypassed it. The picture didn't do it justice at all. When I've seen it fully finished, all the sparkle of the beads and the colours, totally fell for it. And that is Moonlight Garden. Now, I'm going to take this one out because I feel like you really need to appreciate it. So here we go. Not my style at all, but totally gorgeous. Totally fell for it. And it's this bit where it's all sort of blocked out. It almost looks like hard hanger going through the middle, but it's not. But it's got that kind of effect. And this is actually on exactly the same fabric. And these are the colours. So all greens and pinks. Absolutely luscious. And then in this one, which we don't have in the other one, is all the little sparkly beads, which really, really just set this off. So this one was a little bit more. It was £56. But when you've got the fabric, the pattern, and the silks, it's just, yeah. I cannot grumble over that at all. So I don't know when I'm going to start these again, but I'm hoping that they're started within the next year, because I really did fall in love with them. And of course, after having such an amazing weekend, we're already planning on going back again. So when I go back next year, I'm probably going to want to buy more. So it would be nice just to have at least one of the drawn thread finishes. But we'll see. I've got lots of plans, lots of things to start, lots of things to finish. But we will see. I always make plans and I always break them. So I don't want to set anything in stone. So going forward, I'm not going to commit to any videos. I would like to say that I'm going to do one every 2 weeks, but now I'm working 5 days a week, 9 to 5. Liz is at school, and it's just, we've got so many different things going on. And I've still got the retreat commitments, the stitching boxes, Big Stitch, all of the things. So yeah, I can't commit to doing videos like I used to, unfortunately, as much as I enjoy doing them. But I would like to think that I'm going to do another one at the end of October and November, and then a whip parade in December would be nice. Maybe I can convince Andrea to do another one, because I loved doing that one before. And hopefully by the end of the year, I will have at least a couple more finishes to show you. But in the meantime, do come and drop by the Floss Friends group. We've got some lovely online chats going on and some nice stitchy days. But if I don't speak to you beforehand, I'll see you in the next video, and do let me know what I've missed out on your stitching in the months that I've been gone, because I have missed chatting to you guys. So thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.